Okay, so it does three things. Think of it this way. Okay, so it's gonna do three. So remember, you're right. It gets water out of the lumen of a tube, right? Into. So where will the water go first? In the interstitium, right? So I have lumen of tube. That's where water is. I make the luminal membrane permeable to water, correct? So water will move out of the lumen of the tube into where? Into the interstitium. When water gets into the interstitium, then it will now get into the what? Into the blood vessel, correct? Back into the blood. So what drives water is gradient. Makes sense? Water will move from an area of what high water concentration, right, to area of low water concentration, or from an area of low solute to area of what high solute. So which means what do I need to create in the interstitium for water to be reabsorbed? I need to create what a concentration gradient. Increase the solute concentration, right, in the interstitium so that it can draw water out, literally, out of the lumen of the tube, right, into the interstitium and then subsequently into what? Into the blood. So ADH also does that. It helps in creating that gradient in interstitium. How does it do that? Two things. It can also stimulate what? Urea transporters. It's going to stimulate urea transporters. So there will be increased urea reabsorption at the collecting tube, right, into the interstitium. So urea can draw water in. That's one. The second thing is we do, right, is going to stimulate what? Sodium potassium chloride co-transporter at the thick ascending loop of Henle. And that pump will be pumping what? Solute out into the interstitium, right? Potassium, sodium chloride into the interstitium. And that also creates what? A gradient that will help draw water out of the lumen of the collecting tube, right, into the interstitium. Yeah. So about three things, right, that EDH does. First, makes the collecting tube permeable to water by inserting, right, aquaporins. But that is not enough. We need to also create what? A gradient that will draw water in to the interstitium or out of the lumen of the tube. So it's going to stimulate urea transporter in the collecting tube, which will deposit urea, right, in the interstitium, create that gradient, osmotic gradient, and as well as stimulate sodium potassium chloride co-transporter at the loop of Henle, which will also contribute to creation of the osmotic gradient in the interstitium to draw water out. Make sense? All right. Okay. All right. Go ahead. So the by side here.